Ted Bundy, a name that still sends chills down spines even after decades of his execution. Bundy captivated the world with his charm, intelligence, and horrific acts. Recently, popular culture has reignited the fascination with him. From Netflix's chilling documentary, The Ted Bundy Tapes, to Zac Efron's extremely wicked, shockingly evil and vile, Bundy's story continues to haunt and intrigue us. But what makes his story so compelling? Unlike many criminals, Bundy didn't fit the stereotype. He was extraordinarily articulate, intelligent, and charismatic. This charm not only allowed him to lure victims, but also to manipulate those around him, from friends to law enforcement and even the media. His ability to present himself as a normal guy made his crimes all the more shocking and his psychological profile all the more intriguing. But what made Ted Bundy who he was? A law student with stable relationships and a seemingly normal upbringing. What went wrong? Was Bundy a sociopath? A psychopath? Did exposure to pornography play a role in shaping his depravity? And what about his diagnosis? Was it accurate? Welcome back to Prison Stories. In this video, we'll discuss the psychological profile of one of history's most infamous serial killer, Ted Bundy. Born Theodore Robert Cowell on November 24, 1946, in Burlington, Vermont. Bundy didn't pin his crimes on his upbringing at all. To him, he had a pretty normal childhood. Raised by parents that went to church, and unlike some other serial killers, he wasn't abused. The only trauma we can trace in his childhood was his biological grandfather, who was a pretty violent man. Son of a single mother, Louise, Bundy's early life was built on deception. When Bundy was 4, Louise moved with him to Washington, D.C., married Johnny Bundy, and gave Ted his stepfather's last name. But despite his claims, research has shown Bundy has a strained relationship with his stepfather. Despite a shy and introverted childhood, Bundy showed troubling signs early on, including a fascination with knives and an ease with lying. In college, he excelled academically, earning a degree in psychology in 1972. Bundy even worked at Seattle's Suicide Hotline Crisis Center, where his charm and composure masked his darker nature. Outwardly, he seemed destined for success, pursuing law school and involving himself in politics. But beneath this facade lay the makings of one of history's most infamous serial killers. Between 1974 and 1978, Ted Bundy carried out a horrifying spree of murders across at least 5 states, including Washington, Oregon, Utah, Colorado, and Florida. His victims were typically young, attractive women with long brown hair, whom he would charm or deceive into trusting him, often pretending to be an authority figure or someone in need of assistance, such as wearing a fake cast or posing as a police officer. Bundy used his charisma to lure women before abducting, assaulting, and killing them. The details of his crimes were as gruesome as they were calculated, involving necrophilia and post-mortem mutilation. While Bundy confessed to 36 murders, many believe the actual number of his victims could be much higher, possibly exceeding 100. These heinous acts stood in stark contrast to the persona Bundy presented to the world: articulate, intelligent, and disarmingly charming. Ted Bundy has been extensively studied by psychologists, criminologists, and true crime enthusiasts alike. Even decades after his death, his case remains one of the most chilling examples of psychopathy in history. Experts unanimously agree, Ted Bundy wasn't just a psychopath. He was the living definition of what a psychopath could be. Bundy's behavior in the courtroom reveals a lot about his personality. He insisted on representing himself in court. He confidently cross-examined witnesses, delivered opening statements, and argued motions, all while maintaining a smug demeanor. His courtroom appearances became a spectacle, with Bundy relishing the attention as if it were a stage for his self-perceived brilliance. He makes the police go into great details of his crimes, and he's enjoying every second of it. He's reliving them as they talk about them. He was proud of and turned on by the horrible things he did. Bundy had no genuine remorse of conscience. It was clear he liked what he did. Even when he'd escaped jail and went on the run the last time, he took 10 more lives before he was ultimately caught again, including a 12-year-old girl and a college student. So even at the threat of death and being caught again, he wouldn't stop. and didn't care about the pain he was causing. In fact, he enjoyed causing the pain. One common misconception is that psychopaths cannot feel emotions, and since Ted Bundy had emotions, he could not be a psychopath. Psychopaths are absolutely capable of feeling emotion. They are incapable of empathy. That does not mean they do not have emotion, just that they have no regard for the emotions of others. A sneak peek into Bundy's mind is a famously quoted incident of Bundy's breakup. Elizabeth Klopfer, also known as Liz Kendall, the woman who was in a relationship with him for several years before he was arrested. Klopfer later wrote a memoir about her experiences with Bundy, titled The Phantom Prince. She mentioned how devastated Bundy was when his girlfriend dumped him. However, keep in mind that he got over that and he went and changed his life. He became the man that she wanted him to be before they broke up. They got back together. He strung her along and callously broke up with her over the phone. She called him about their relationship. He responded, "Stephanie, I have no idea what you mean." The behavior explains a psychopath's lack of empathy perfectly. He loved her. She destroyed him. He became the man she wanted him to be, and he not only dumped her, he acted like they never got back together. He was able to feel the emotional pain when he was dumped, but he had no ability to attach that pain to her. Bundy himself later claimed in interviews that the breakup was a key factor in his descent into violent crime. However, it's important to note that Bundy's emotional response to the breakup is often cited as an example of his narcissism. He was hurt because he felt rejected, not because of any deep emotional attachment to Klopfer. Was Bundy a sociopath? Some try to label Bundy as a sociopath. The distinction between the two terms can sometimes blur. Both sociopathy and psychopathy fall under the umbrella of antisocial personality disorder in clinical psychology, but they manifest differently. A psychopath lacks empathy. He remains completely detached to his horrific crimes, though a sociopath may form limited attachments. Psychopaths like Bundy are highly charismatic and manipulative, unlike sociopaths who are awkward and struggle to blend in. Sociopath can be disorganized and impulsive, while Bundy was extremely meticulous. The way he could manage to escape twice is a brilliant example of his calculated mind. Bundy remains calm and composed under pressure in his interviews, trial, which is a contrast of how a sociopath would behave. A sociopath can be prone to violent outbursts. Bundy was extremely careful in committing his crimes. It took more than a decade and almost 30 to 100 murders before he was arrested. A sociopath is reckless and may have left evidence early in his crimes. Did pornography shape Ted Bundy? In his last interview, a day before his execution, Bundy claimed that pornography influenced his violent behavior. Yet this assertion is widely disputed by experts. While pornography can act as a contributing factor, it is not considered a direct cause of such behaviors. Even Bundy himself admitted in his final interview, "I never said pornography made me do it. I said that to get them to help me. I did murder because I wanted to do it." Even this admission underscores the calculated and manipulative nature of Bundy, as he used the pornography narrative to shift blame and garner sympathy. While we may never fully understand what drove Bundy to commit such crimes, his story serves as both a warning and a lesson, reminding us of the importance of recognizing the red flags in those who may seem normal on the outside but hide dangerous impulses beneath the surface. If you found this video insightful, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell for more in-depth analyses of notorious criminals. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching Prison Stories, and we will see you with another intriguing episode.